It was supposed to be an adventure, a journey into the heart of New Guinea's untouched wilderness. I'd heard stories of its beauty, its mystery, and its secrets. But no one warned me about the skull collectors. No one could have prepared me for what I found in those dark, suffocating jungles. It started with the whispers. The locals in the village I passed through spoke in hushed tones, their eyes darting nervously toward the tree line. They called them Tulun-Kalap, the skull collectors. I dismissed it as superstition, the kind of folklore that clings to remote places like moss on ancient trees. But the way they looked at me like I was already marked should have been my first warning. I ventured into the jungle alone, armed with nothing but a machete, a camera, and a foolish sense of invincibility. The air was thick, humid, and alive with the sounds of unseen creatures. The deeper I went, the more the jungle seemed to close in around me, as if it were alive and watching. I told myself it was just my imagination, but then I found the first skull. It was perched on a gnarled root, staring at me with hollow eyes. Its surface was unnaturally smooth, polished by time or something else. I crouched to examine it, my fingers trembling as I reached out. The moment I touched it, a chill shot through me, and I swear I heard a faint, guttural whisper in the air. I spun around, but there was nothing there, just the endless green and the oppressive silence. I should have turned back then. But curiosity, that damned curiosity, kept me going. I told myself it was just an old relic, a remnant of some forgotten tribe. But as I pressed on, I found more skulls. They hung from branches, sat on rocks, and lay half buried in the dirt. Each one was pristine, as if they'd been placed there deliberately. And each one seemed to watch me. By nightfall, I was hopelessly lost. The jungle had swallowed the sun, and the darkness was absolute. I set up a makeshift camp, but sleep was impossible. The whispers returned, louder now, echoing in my mind. They weren't in any language I could understand, but their intent was clear. They wanted me to leave, but it was too late. I woke to the sound of snapping twigs. My heart pounded as I grabbed my machete and scanned the darkness. The jungle was alive with movement, shadows shifting just beyond the firelight. And then I saw them. They emerged from the trees like phantoms, their bodies painted in ash and mud, their eyes gleaming like embers. They wore necklaces of bones and carried staffs adorned with skulls. The skull collectors. They moved with an unnatural grace, their forms flickering in and out of sight. I tried to scream, but my voice caught in my throat. One of them stepped forward, his face a mask of dried clay and feathers. He raised a hand, and the whispers became a deafening roar. My vision blurred, and I felt myself being dragged into the darkness. I fought, but their grip was iron. The last thing I remember is the sound of their chanting, low and rhythmic, as they surrounded me. When I woke, I was back in the village. The locals stared at me with a mix of pity and fear. They wouldn't speak of what happened, but I knew. I could feel it in the weight of their silence and the way they avoided my gaze. And I could see it in the mirror. My reflection is wrong now. My eyes are darker, hollow, like the skulls in the jungle. And sometimes, when I'm alone, I hear the whispers. They're faint, but they're there, calling me back to the jungle. I don't know how long I can resist. The skull collectors marked me, and they're waiting. They always collect what's theirs,